A little octonaughty action going on. Get a little naughty in here. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. It's Sunday night, and in the new schedule, that means it's review night. So we're going to be taking a look at a lot of viewer-submitted game reviews. So let's get to it. What's going on, chat? How is everybody doing out there in Chatland? I hope everybody's doing well. The weekend or the start of the week, if you're living in the future, is treating you well. Yeah, the camera's back. I'm still not feeling entirely spectacular. I just need a few more days rest is what it's going to boil down to. There's not a whole lot more I can do about it. It's just the way allergies go. I mean, it's that time of year. Running a little bit behind on the start because I've been watching football today. I've talked about it before. I'm a big football fan. Definitely enjoy some NFL. And there's some decent games on. I'll catch the rest of them during the week because I'll watch reruns and stuff like that. But for now, we're going to be talking Phobies. And there's actually a lot of stuff to talk about in the world of Phobies. By the time this goes live on YouTube, everybody's already going to know about what we're speculating about. But I do plan on trying this week, like I'm going to have to do it tomorrow or Tuesday, I think, recording a news flash about some of the news. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I posted in my Discord. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to stay up to date on Phobies news, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. Link in the description. Or come by the live stream, RTChompGG, over on Twitch. But we are closing in on the 1.5 release. Tomorrow we're going to get the patch itself, the staging of the patch. The way the Phobies team has always done it in the past is that they are going to push the patch and then it becomes live at some point later. Why does that matter? Well, just moments, almost, like less than an hour before I started the live stream, in the announcements in the official Phobies Discord, there was a note put out that says, "Come one, come all, grab a ticket or two and visit the strange and frightening carnival of you." So there's this little poster, we'll call it, infographic, that has October 4th on it, notably. So why does that matter? Well, that's not too long from the time of this recording. It's September 25th. So we know that there's a big patch going in tomorrow. We're saying it's big because the 1.4 release was full disclosure. This is now 1.5, and every patch in between has been 1.4 point something. So, you know, if you know something about software development, that's kind of a big jump. So therefore, it's likely to be something important. We know that the Halloween event is coming up. Now, we're all assuming and speculating that there are going to be new Phobies, possibly new maps, possibly other stuff. All the stars are starting to align. And given the poster, which again, I'll talk about on a newsflash otherwise, given the way the poster looks, I mean, Russell appears to be on this. There's some sort of unknown looking phobia. It kind of looks like a mask, like a masquerade mask at the top. The phobia in the center, like I said, kind of looks like Russell to me. But we do have an idea of the theme and a creepy carnival. The haunted house sort of aspect definitely seemed like we talked about, I think, last week. Maybe Friday. Yeah, I think it was last week. I forgot when. But it was one of the speculated ideas is that this could be a reasonable theme. In conjunction with what seems to be getting data mined from some of the files based on what people are saying in the Discord, there's some interesting stuff. I'm curious what everybody out there is thinking about. So let me know, chat. Let me know. I'm going to put the call out in the video I do offline also so that people have speculation or ideas, what they hope to see, what they actually think they're going to see, because those aren't always necessarily the same thing. Let me know. I'm curious what people have, what input and what ideas they have. Quick aside, everybody, before we get into the actual content, I was accepted into the Phobies Content Affiliate Program, the content creator program, you might call it. Shout out to the Phobies team, and thank you for that. But the reason I'm telling you, everybody out there, dear viewer, dear listener, is to let everybody know that I do receive some compensation from the Phobies team as a result of being part of that program. Now, I loved Phobies before, and I still love Phobies now, and I expect I will still continue to love Phobies in the future. So look forward to more Phobies content coming from Random's Thoughts. So now, on with the show. Anyway, like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of game reviews. Especially because, given that this is a large patch, I expect that it's going to break reviews. But if you're interested in getting your own game reviewed, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. As mentioned earlier, it'll be in the video description. You can always hang out and talk Phobies there, but there's instructions on how you can submit your game to get reviewed. And that's how you show up on stream. So let's take a look at the first one for this evening from Morbid. Let's see, which one is this? It's this one. So we're zoning in here on Home Sweet Home. Our hero here is Morbid Fates in the orange trunks. Gotta love the full board wipe in one turn. Sounds like we need to get our clip buttons ready for that particular turn, Morbid. Can't wait to see this. Yeah, this is the one we talked about last stream, Kratosss. So I know everybody's very excited, and I see Morbid hanging out in stream. Welcome, Morbid. All the reviews are going to get Thanos snap, but the other half also gets turned to dust. Yeah. Unfortunately, yes, Scrungle. So we got to get through as many as we can tonight, so that way we can get them all in, or as many as we can in anyway. So we're getting, I don't know, I don't recall what level Morbid is offhand. I didn't check before we zoned into the game. I should pay attention to these notes, but like that element, not notes, but that element, and I just don't. So we get and eliminate, like, the cat just kind of dies here, which sucks, but there's not much you can do about it. There was an option to, like, go in and kill the murder wing, because I guess that's not worth it. Because you'd end up losing your cassowary, and then have your Jin Sting poisoned, and, like, you wouldn't be able to retaliate very well, so I don't think it's worth it. Your stress level 37, Morbid? Okay, it was mostly is Snowball in the cards, but we're now seeing the build-up into... Wow, this Murder Wing has waited there so long, it got a second meatball off from the same position. That's kind of funny. We're seeing the Stabby show up. It's kind of a almost prerequisite on this map. And then we get a standoff. The lovers separated. Ted and Jill on opposite sides of the board, but speaking of build-up, we have a mother load coming down. This should help Morbid effectively take over the board, because there isn't much... Blue player has... While they have 5 keys banked, they can't commit anything to the board because they haven't actually allowed any Phobies to die. Which normally you'd say is a good thing, but if you have 5 Phobies like this, you unfortunately limit your options. It is a common mistake, myself included. I do this all the time, where you accidentally lock yourself out. Obviously, our blue player will be able to reinforce, excuse me, with, well, just about anything by the time that something goes down. But for now, Morbid will be able to extend their lead with a 2-to-1 panic point advantage, because there's no need to commit in. Now, given this positioning, and I understand why Morbid had to do this, it's a little tough to threaten anything, including the Ted. The reason for that is you can, yes, kill the Ted, but you'd have to extend. You can't walk in and walk out like we saw what happened to Jill. When we get another 7-drop chat, this is a lot of AoE. You get a little tentacle action here in Raising Hell. You got Make It Rain, which actually I forgot that this was the name of the ability. This is awesome. This is awesome. Like, Motherload is actually pretty cool. Although it's funny because, like, I get where the phrase comes from, but usually when it's this sort of thing in this sort of scenario, it's like calling it an airstrike. You know, like you're dropping the bombs or the rockets from the air, as opposed to pushing out like a bunch of mobile landmines that scuttle and scramble all over the board, and then they explode. It's a little weird. So we'll see. Plus the Jin Sting Splash, yeah, there's a lot of AoE going on. Like, there's not all the AoE, but there's a lot of AoE. What if there's a special pack from the Carnival? I kind of doubt that, Onda, but we can talk about it after the game. Remind me to bring that up. Alright, so we see some regular attacks going down. Not real surprising here. The staging here makes sense. Get everything ready. The way the forces are split, like, Cassowary could die here, but it would be super awkward. Oh no, are they going for it? Oh, but I mean, they're not going for the Cassowary, but... Granted, bad guy is in a weird spot, but this is like... Ugh. You don't like this. Like, you gotta feel bad as bad guy, because here, you go, boom. Just wipe the board clean. Just wipe this out. Oh my god, the carnage, chat. The carnage.
That
is
savage.
We gotta look at this turn again. Like, look at the setup for this turn. Yes, bad guy kind of walked into this a little bit, but, oh, baby! Making it rain. Raising some hell. Get a little tentacle action there. The bees to supplement. Oh, my God. Like, look at this. How do you come back from that, chat? That is brutal. Like, how do you come back from a turn like that? Welcome to the splash yard. Like, look at this. I mean, what's even funnier is... Oh, the mother load is at, like, half health. Like, easy, you don't? Yeah, AoE gaming is right. How you come back from this, you click the hamburger menu, the 3 lines, and then you hit surrender. And then you queue up for another game. Because this game is over. Triple panic point advantage. I mean, yes, bad guy seems to have refilled, right? They get a whole bunch of stuff. But this will come back online. This is going to come back online real soon. Bees is already online. You retreat back a little bit. You don't even necessarily have to here. You're apparently just going to murder the sheep. Kill a bees. Yeah, like, look at this. Ha! I actually thought they were going to possibly kill the Eternal Knight, but I get it, because otherwise Kerbloom, or whichever one this is, could come in. This feels BM. I know it's not, but, like, it feels BM that, oh, by the way, I'm taking your healing spot. Like, that's just hilarious. And how often do you get to see Flesh Crawler, right? Like, that's pretty cool. Should make the Flesh Crawler, like, lick animation the thumbnail for this one. Oh my god. The savagery, chat. The savagery. Cleaning crew? Yeah, they're just mopping them up.
Savage.
They're absolutely mopping them up. Generally, they're mopping everything up with bad guy's face right now. You have 4 games with Cerberus on the board? Wow. GG. Well played, Morbid. That one's pretty good. That seems pretty good. Easy money, easy game, easy life. I mean, like I said in game, bad guy set themselves up for it, and I have to wonder, did they just throw in the towel? You know what I mean? Like, at a certain point, it was like, I'm locked out of playing more Phobies. I think they realized their mistake pretty quickly. And once they did, it was like, okay, I'm basically locked out of the game. It was Morbid's game to lose at that point, and it reinforces the idea. Yeah, Phobos is back, unfortunately. Unfortunately. On any map, I don't know why I went in here. On any map, and I mean, that map isn't... No, this is Billy's room. That map actually rotated out now, but like any map, if you lock yourself in, you know, 5 Phobies on a small map, 7 Phobies on a big map, when you lock yourself in like that, you need to be damn sure that what you have is good. Alright, Morbid, thanks for hanging out. Have fun. You put yourself at a huge disadvantage. You are absolutely taking an enormous risk. What was back last stream on RT? Yeah, they rotated back in on Thursday, but yes. Thursdays is the rotation day for maps, which is a little weird. Somebody had put a suggestion. I think after rereading it, I kind of understand what they were saying. Somebody put in a suggestion about rotating the maps more consistently, I think was the word they used, which is what threw me off because they rotate every week. But I think what they're getting at is they want a more regular rotation because there are clearly maps that have come back. Like, we were joking about it, but did Penny Drop get deleted from the game? Because that map doesn't seem to exist anymore. Excuse me. I don't know. I don't know what the story is. Like, what drives the particular rotations? I'm not really sure. I don't know what the pattern is. I'd have to, like, write them all down and have to go back and go through, like, all of the, like, throw all the rotations in a spreadsheet and see if I can notice a pattern, because I'm not really sure. Not really sure. All right, let's clean up the spreadsheet real quick. I see dogewhal said that they put one in. Yep, I do see that. That is a subscriber one, so we will push that one up a little bit. Oh, whoops. I was like, wait a minute, why is the spreadsheet... I accidentally scrolled down. I'm like, I've definitely reviewed things since the 16th, and I didn't know why it was missing stuff. No, today's the 25th. Today is the 25th. As we get closer to that 1.5 patch. Chat, what do you think's going to show up in there? Any drop just goes to another school? Yep. This might sting a little map is pretty long, haven't come back, but any drop sure is a fossil map. Yeah. And I have to wonder, what is the reason? Like, did the team notice a bug? Did they feel that the numbers were wildly out of whack? Like, first player, second player, or certain phobies were dominating it or something like that? I don't know. Check, Penny Drop is a lobber-heavy map, and the last time I played it, I had a hard time killing a pterodactyl, thus I don't like it. It's, yeah, it's a very basic map. I remember lobbers, like, that was where DT, I think, first proposed the lobber, you know, how powerful lobbers are on that map, and I agreed. But we've seen it show up on other maps. I don't think it's as egregious as, say, Vopopolis. Like, that's a lobber-heavy map. There's a few others. But anyway, so yeah, my Oopsie Baby's level 1. We might as well level it up now while we're in here. We'll see how high we can get it first. The other thing that Onda brought up was going back to the updates. So the update is coming, and the suggestion was, what if we get a, like, event pack? As of right now, it's weird, because I could absolutely see that being possible. I could absolutely see, in the grand scheme, not necessarily for this update, but in general, that there could be more packs here. Maybe part of the update is they rework the store and it looks differently, so you're not, like, scrolling. Oopsie is fun, got mine to level 11. Oopsie seems like it's going to be good. We talked about it before. I feel like it got overshadowed by the full disclosure aliens, but yeah, Oopsie definitely seems solid. Excuse me. But yeah, I could see other packs coming in. The problem is, I don't know that this is the one they'll do it. At some point, that is a catch-up mechanic for people to, like, get back in the game. Or if they're just joining the game, say a year from now. They just pick up Phobies, they figure it out, and they go, man, this game is great. How do they catch up without having to shell out, like, 10 grand? Well, you could have specified packs for certain things to give you better chances. I can imagine event packs with event currency. I find it difficult to believe that that will never happen. I know that's a weird way of saying it, but basically, I think it's an inevitability that we will get that. I don't know that we're going to get it on this one. It still feels early, because that, I feel, is a catch-up mechanic, like I was saying. Why is Oopsie Baby not scared of the clown? Probably because it's mechanical. I mean, some people really like clowns. I'm not clear on why, because they're unsettling at best. Which, by the way, there's a game coming out next year, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's based on a terrible, terrible 80s horror movie. But it did scare the crap out of people in that movie, like kids, when that movie came out. And I'm actually pretty excited for it. I think it'll be a fun game. Like, when we get the event pack at the end of the event and have a better chance than a Dreadful, it would be cool, Onda. I think that's still in the same bucket that I just don't see them doing it yet. That's the thing. I could absolutely see that existing. Will it be now? Probably not. I think it's too early in the game. Like, the game hasn't been out a year yet. That's not something you typically do in the first year of a game release. I'm not saying it never happens, but it doesn't seem common. Honestly, I wish we had trait-specific packs like Mechanical Pack. That's been brought up a lot, Doge, and I could see that happening, again, at some point. But until the pack odds for those ones are somehow we'll say, this is going to sound weird, but as bad as these now, it's unlikely, because otherwise that is a financial negative for the team. It's a gesture of goodwill towards the community, but that goodwill doesn't keep the lights on in the organization, you know what I mean? Honestly, I'm really lacking that specific trait. Yeah, I absolutely think that should exist. And I hope nobody misunderstands. I think these things should exist. I'm trying to be realistic about it, though. Will they do it now or anytime soon? I think that's unlikely. It's not impossible, but I think that is unlikely. I think it's going to come down to simply numbers, where those packs will have to be, you know, your odds of opening Hevo 3.0 will need to be similar when you open that mechanical only pack to your odds of opening Hevo 3.0 in a scary pack now. Obviously, then in the future, like the future scenario is that the Hevo 3.0 would be virtually impossible to find in a scary pack because there's so many phobies, there's so much stuff, blah, blah, blah. When that equalizes the current scary pack to the hypothetical future mechanical pack, that's when I think they would show up. They could just make the odds really bad in those packs, but I think that would not be great because the precedent has already been set with whatever these are, so people have like an expectation for how they'll work. I think that's what it's going to be. Skin pack gives the luchador hats for some phobies. It's been brought up a few times now, but aside from hats for phobies, I think it would be great if they had skins for the heart. I think that would be cool. Or, you know, it would also be a cool cosmetic. What if you could buy different music so you could determine what music is played on what map? Even if it's only for you. Even if it's only for you. I think that would be cool. I think there's a lot of cosmetics they could do. The problem is I think they really need to rework the prices. Yes, there are people with some of these avatars. But, like, I'm not paying $20 for the alien ones. That's just literally never going to happen. It's just, like, that's just not happening. And don't get me wrong, if somebody wants to do that, great. But for me personally, I will never do that. Well, if somebody on stream, like, gifted enough subs, I would do it, kind of thing. But that's the only way, but that's not really me buying it. That's the stream buying it for me, essentially. You know what I mean? It's kind of like what happened with the, where is it? The Jin Sting one. I got it because Luffy donated a bunch of subs. If everything, like, all of the, this is what I think the price point should be. It should be $1 or $2. Everything in here cosmetically should be an impulse buy. It should actually be reasonable for somebody to literally come in here and buy every single thing out of the store and not hate themselves afterwards. I think that should be reasonable. I think it should be a total, and if this expands, the number can go up. But I think right now, you should be able to get 100% of the cosmetics in here for maybe $30. Because I think way more people would say, hey, yeah, I'm going to buy the cosmetic pack and get everything for $30. And then if you get introduced more, then do them afterwards. I feel like it's fact those alien profiles are the same price as Lippy's double dreadful pack that feel it's insulting. I mean, yeah, it's the price. It's basically the price of a dreadful pack now. I mean, it's $24 here, but it goes on sale for like $20, I think, usually. Those two wrestler robots have different models. Notice they have different animations. Wait, there are animations for the wrestler robots? I hadn't seen that, Onda. Oh, you're talking. Never mind. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about from the old trailers, right? The prices seem steep. Yeah, they absolutely are, Tona. Because the only time all those things just change this. This is the only thing that changes. I'm not paying $20 for a profile picture. I love this game, but sorry, I'm not going to. Not when. And here's the more insulting part about it. Here's the most insulting part. There's so much content, and by content I mean other phobie levels, that sort of thing, locked behind the packs, that, like, I'd be more inclined, I still wouldn't do it, but, like, I would at least consider it if I already had every single phobie. If I had every single phobie right now, I would consider buying this because I'm like, you know what? Hey, devs, I'm enjoying the game. I'll sink in some extra cash. And again, content affiliate, they give me coffee, they give me stuff. Like, you got to know that ahead of time. But honestly, I would consider these if it was like, oh, well, I spent some, like, I don't have a number in mind, but like, I already own all the Phobies right now. So the only thing left is Phobie leveling. Okay, I'm willing to put more money into the game to support the devs. I would buy one of the expensive profiles if I already had everything else. But there's already a ton of content I don't have, so no. Do the devs know the prices, or the players think the prices are off? I'm confident people have said it, Atona. I don't check that part of the Discord all that often, but there's no chance somebody hasn't said it. Actually, now that I think about it, I think I've seen it, so. Who do you think the Phobies are fighting the background of the arena button? We've talked about it before. I thought it was Quagmire here, but I don't think it actually is, because Quagmire sometimes looks like it has spines, but I don't know. I think these are unseen Phobies, like they're going to be new. I only spend tiers on avatars. You don't buy packs? I feel like 5 is a good price for what they're selling. If they had bundles for it where it was $20 for like 3 avatars, maybe. Maybe. I mean, I don't care that much about the avatars, so it's not that important to me. Big one reminds me of Yeti or Sasquatch. Sort of, but I don't think any of them have like the big spines coming out the head and the back. The body shape, yeah, I could see it. I could see it. 15k tiers on 3 avatars. I don't mind having them as the resource sink. You know, as another way to burn your tiers. Because hypothetically, at some point, you'll have a full collection with stuff maxed out, but honestly, I don't think a free-to-play player that will... I literally don't think that'll ever happen. It just will take way too long. And they're going to be producing more Phobies and stuff, right? So, in the frenemy background, there's also 2 shadows. Yes. I've used that as the, like, these are definitely just random things, I think. I don't think these are known Phobies. They look reptilian or dragon-esque. This one kind of looks like it has a beak. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Bottom line is, we've talked about it a million times, and I don't mind continuing to talk about it because I think it's worth continuing to discuss that the economy needs work. The in-game economy needs work. Alright, so we're going to jump into a dogewhal game breakdown. Do give priority to the subs if you want to get your own game on stream and then ultimately on YouTube, where you're probably watching this. Hit up the Random Thoughts Discord in the video description. Go by the live stream, links, and all that fun stuff. Likes and subscribes. We just talked about this, but it really does help. I want to hit 1,000 subscribers, hopefully before the end of this year, but I'll be honest, it's looking dicey. We're going to keep making that push. But anyway, let's jump into this game. Alright, so we're jumping in this game. Our hero is dogewhal in the orange trunks here on Biff's room. You been Muffin Top for a while? Muffin's a pretty funny avatar. Like, is it supposed to be holding up fingers like I'm #1 here? Or is it just, like, holding up its fingers exclaiming in either pain or joy? I don't know which. Could be either. Could be either. But anyway. Our bad guy, I'll be honest, what in God's name are they doing here? What is the point here? Now, this is a level 11 Henrietta. I can't click off of it onto anything else. I don't know why it's... won't let me click on any of the other ones. I want to see what the levels on the other 1-drops are. Level 9. Level 11. These are pretty tanky. These are pretty tanky. So... 2-to-1 panic point advantage, bad guy. Started out with triple 1-drops, banked to 6. I like the opener from dogewhal here, with the cowbell and, excuse me, unicorn. Staying at 4 is reasonable to me. The reason it's reasonable is that you are able to still somewhat answer... This is weird, though. You're able to somewhat answer whatever 6-drop or bigger that they happen to crap out. But you still are presenting stuff on the board so that you can address it. You have some time, so you don't want to, like, panic about this. And if you play this carefully, you should realistically lose only the cowbell here. question is, how big is this Klepto? 472, so this is not a super high-level Klepto. Level 7. Excuse me. Like I mentioned on the previous stream, my allergies are absolutely kicking my ass, so you'll have to forgive me as I'm clearing my throat and coughing and sneezing and stuff like that. It's a little bit of a struggle. But anyway, I expected to see the Gin Sting a little bit sooner, but we do see it now. And it logically makes sense here. This Klepto is going to be a threat, because you can't leave things to hang around. It's going to be complicated to position things the way you want. I'm assuming, ironically enough, that dogewhal does not have a muffin. This seems like a mistake. No, the jar should survive this. The jar should survive, because hypothetically, the Klepto could go in and bomb everything by hitting the heart. Not everything, but the splash should not be enough to kill the jar. The reason I was commenting about the... Oh my god, look at that, chat. That's a brutal hit with the traps. I was commenting on the muffin earlier because I would have expected the Gin Sting to be here so that it could get involved faster, as opposed to inching its way up. But ultimately, we get a takedown on the creep, and this should be a dead Klepto as well. Bad guy has, for some reason, elected to bank to 7. That's a certified unicorn trap moment. True story. In the coffee shop, there's a UFO trying to steal a cow. I forgot what the name of that coffee is. The cow looks robotic, and I think Cowbell works there guarding the cows. That's a fun theory, Onda. I haven't looked at the art for the coffee that much. At this point, I've got full control in the middle. I think you have full control of the game at this point, Doge, truthfully. Bad guy overextended immensely. I don't know what the hell the Henrietta was doing up here, other than being irritating. When I was talking about the Gin Sting coming out earlier, I think you could have popped Gin Sting on the vault and just killed it one of those turns, but even without, whatever. So the Klopster here, this is pretty cool. Might use this for the thumbnail. Might actually use this for the thumbnail. Like, that's pretty cool if I can get rid of the, I'm not going to be able to do it again. I was trying to get rid of the health bar, but whatever. The Klopster here is a level 13, so it actually is pushing an enormous amount of damage. Okay, maybe you don't have complete control of this game, because Klopster is super mobile, and, like, that's a huge amount. Like, if you don't kill this Klopster here, you could be in danger. That being said, you probably have enough damage. Oh, maybe not. So cleaning up this canine is also almost as good as killing the Klopster. Why? Well, before we... This is a pretty cool thumbnail also. I'm not going to lie. This is pretty cool. You get the little Chuck action in the corner. You get the Klopster roaring. You get the tombstone. Like, the Klopster is at 800 health. If it goes in, it's dead, even if it snipes something, because you're not going to, as bad guy, clear these other things out. And we get the Chuck following it up. Still 3 keys left for our hero. The UFOs are little coffee cups on plates. That's kind of funny. I assume the Gin Sting's dead. Yep. But look at the board position here. We get a Hevo as the final phobie from Bad Guy. I don't know, Bad Guy. I don't know. Yeah, Chuck is in range to start bombing this Klopster. It's a 3-to-1 panic point advantage. You can cover both of the center and the north panic point with Chuck. Murder Wing is the final phobie for our hero. This just felt like a good old-fashioned beatdown. Good old-fashioned butt-whooping. Tactical Chuck incoming. What is Bad Guy supposed to do? When they lost the Klepto, I think that's the game, basically. They were in an enormous hole. They had to replenish their forces from way far away. Our hero already had stuff on the board to control positioning. At this stage, there's just nothing they can do. Look at this. Chuck literally covers all 3 panic points for what it's worth. That's about it, Scrungle. Yeah, there's not much they can do. It's just a matter of time. Well played, Doge. Well played. It absolutely underscores the idea, and we haven't seen one of these in a while. It wasn't one of the classic Onda or even Redizio, like, trap plays, where Bad Guy overextends and then blow, like a bunch of traps blow up on their face. Or I think it also happened to Onda, where bad guys were extending, because I remember it on, I'm pretty sure Xylo, and maybe this may sting a little, where bad guys had extended, like, onto the vault, which is, I don't know why. GG, well played. But yeah, bad guys were overextending onto Hero's vault, and then as a result, it's like, okay, well, the handful of things that I had out collapse on your stuff, then more things pop out, and I just completely wipe your board clean, almost. And it's just like, yeah, the ball game. So the notes, which I actually didn't read there, but this is the biggest level gap fight I've won. Not sure how that happened. Well, we were kind of outlining how it happened. Basically, I think bad guy either was overconfident. This was async, so it's possible they're doing what I do and not paying attention. But that was a throw, I think. You absolutely took control of it or took advantage of it, Doge. But yeah, they kind of handed that game to you with the overextension. Just too many things too far forward with no support, no outs, no nothing. And it's just like, okay, I invested a bunch of time, energy, and resources into these phobies, and then up in smoke. Up in smoke. All right. So let's take a look at a DT game. Let's take a look at a DT game. Probably take a quick break after this one, chat, and then we'll jump back into some more. Or we'll do some other, DT, you change your avatar. The little octonaughty action going on. Get a little naughty in here. Alright, so our hero here is DT in the blue trunks, sporting the octonaughty avatar. Not one you see very commonly, but you should always fear the cephalopod. They will rise up and they will strike down humanity with their righteous wrath at some point. Look, it's just going to happen. We all know it's going to happen. You just have to be prepared. But DT is actually... I want to talk about this. We'll get the notes out. So no more stalemates on Eternal Monday, which actually is a good segue into what I was going to say, DT. So, here's the thing. On this map, it is commonly, up to this point, been super stalematey. Basically, both players set up here with a concave, set up here with a concave, and then just trade one-drops back and forth, and it's just asinine. But as I've said on many occasions, and we can talk about this after the game also, on many occasions, in my opinion, if you are stalemating in that fashion, that means that one or both players are playing suboptimally. DT's about to release his Blasto. What are we talking about, Onda? Getting a little frisky there, huh? I think crypto's more stalematey. It can be, but I think in both scenarios, it comes down to, I think players are still adapting, still evolving, still refining their game plans. So here... one of the adaptations that I agree with DT on, Blastomatic, oh, I know, Onda, I know. I'm just having some fun. So, one of the adaptations that I've been thinking about and have been trying offline, and it's been working out okay, DT has been pushing for this Gravedigger break in the center. Now, I follow it up with different things because I don't have Blastomatic, which I imagine we're going to see from DT, but let's see what we actually get. I tend to go with some of the full disclosure, 3-range aliens, and Oculus Repeller. But obviously Stabby is also part of this. So you end up getting this turret, and if you get it here, especially Stabby, because it's out of range of a jar on the stim, it covers all the panic points. You can do a lot of good stuff. DT turret gaming? Exactly. Exactly. You got your range phobies on the stim, just sending your 1 keys into the pit. Oh, for crypto? Yeah, exactly. The difference there is something like Blasto can give you a big leg up on crypto. But we can talk about that after the game. Although that particular... play is something that's very well known at this stage. So we see a 1-drop getting all up in the mix here. I don't know about this one. Man. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't know about this one. Honestly, I think I would have liked to have seen the Gravedigger kill this cat immediately, because bad guy can kill this cowbell without having to expend any more resources. I don't really... if DT's in chat, maybe DT can elaborate, but I don't agree with this one. And they could have left the cat there and kept the meatball, but instead they elect to keep the cat, which I think is better. You'd lose Gravedigger? then you kill their, like, would you? 6, 9, 5 is 14. Yeah, his Gravedigger's low enough. That's reasonable. That makes sense. Gravedigger, okay. I didn't do the math. That I should have said that, but that makes sense. I agree with not trading it then. It just... I guess in my head I was picturing the Gravedigger would live, and then you could just collapse on the Murder Wing, but if it's not going to live, it's not going to live. But I still don't think you put the 1-drop here. Like, the 1-drop could have been here, for example, and not died. And then you recap this with the cowbell. That's the more important thing to me, but we'll come back to it if we need to. So DT does have an advantage that I do not with this turret setup. Most of them, well, not just turrets, but a lot of the stuff that I'm setting up are 4 cost, 5 cost, that sort of thing. The Inoculus, the repellers. Here, DT has access to a better bow mangles than I do, and this is clearly much more key efficient. So at this stage, it's going to be very difficult for Bad Guy to actually collapse. But I will call out this cool play in the top. That is a good heads-up play from DT. That this prevents the Murder Wing from just getting 2 clean hits immediately onto this Gravedigger. If Bad Guy wants to collapse on the Gravedigger, they have to advance the Murder Wing. They move this up. Snowball can't get there because it would have to occupy the same space as Bow Mangles. So it's Meatball, a hit from this, and Jar. We'll see what Bad Guy ultimately decides to do. So they just sneak in here, get some pot shots on the, or a pot shot on the Gravedigger. At this point, I guess, Gravedigger, it's done, it's gotten all the value it's going to, because it would be another couple turns before the Terraform comes back online. But in the meantime, the triple turret is now occupying the center. This is kind of a bold move. Obviously, the Unicorn is going to eat it, or potentially eat it from the Jar. We'll see what Bad Guy actually elects to go after. But this is a lot of HP between these 4 Phobies. You're not going to get all of them. So down goes the Unicorn. But it's triple panic point advantage hero at this stage. Bad Guy does get to put a little bit of damage onto Stabby, but one thing that we haven't called out yet is that DT is banked to 8. Bad Guy is still desperately pushing out Phobies every turn, although one of those Phobies is an erratic at this point. Dead Bow Mangles, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. It just felt like this is not unlike our last game review. At basically no point did DT ever appear to not be in control of this game. That was a very weird sentence. Basically, let's start over. DT was in control of this game from start to finish on virtually every level. You can make an argument, like I said, on that turn, sacrificing the cowbell. Maybe. This is a cool play by Bad Guy in order to get the challenge play, both to keep their other Phobies alive, but also have the erratic get a free move out of it. And this, you can make an argument, looks dicey, but 32-38, triple panic point advantage. We're actually seeing DT advance here. Just going for the heart. Just going for the heart here. Even get a little meatball action. And we get a high 5 as the finisher. There's no way for Bad Guy to stop this. I don't think. The only way they could stop this is if they just park every Phobie they have in front of the heart to stop high 5 from connecting, kind of thing. Which honestly might be the play. Is this a Dead Bow Mangles? If it's not, that's... Okay, yeah. So they do take back the panic points, but this is not preventing this high 5 from connecting. And this high 5 is level 11, still has 3k health. $14.02. Bam! Is actually funny that it killed that and pulled it back. That's actually a really... Oh my god. This is clippable. Hold on. This is a really cool finish. This is a really cool finish by DT. Proving that it's not always stalemates on Eternal Monday with the high five. Get the backwards challenge play to get the panic point and kill the heart. GG. That's actually a really cool finish. Yeah, that's a high five gaming moment. That was really cool. Like, how much damage was that necessary for that to happen? High five doing the moonwalk? Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to see if this is, like, was that required? Did that have to happen? I mean, I think the high five survives and then you just kill them. Oh, damn it. I looked away at chat for a second and accidentally skipped too far. Whoops. The DT special. Yeah, DT is, I was talking about how DT is not really the Earl of Eternal Night anymore. Alright, so it was at 1402. This does 1170.
Victory is almost ours.
This is incredible.
Watch them cower.
This is incredible. This is actually super cool, the way this worked out. Look at this. This is going to be a good thumbnail, too. Like, look at that. That is super cool. Well done, DT. Well done. Dozer is good. Dozer's okay. Yeah, Dozer is, in fact, your big boy turret. Dozer's when you need the big boys to come out and start beating up stuff. It's just tough to use. It's tough to find a scenario where you really want it. I value the mobility of other Phobies really highly. When you're investing a lot of keys, you know, when it's above 5, even, well, actually, honestly, above 3, I feel like I value mobility way higher than just about any of the other abilities. I like Innocuous because of the range, so it's effectively a normal Phobie because it's 3 range. Because the extra range covers for the move that is lost. And then, obviously, being 3 range means other unique parts of it. But beyond that, I mean, what other one-move Phobies are here? I like Erratic, but it also artificially has extended range because of the chain effect. Is it really like Dozer is the only one? I mean, of what I have. I guess Mildred. It's part of the reason I don't like Mildred is because of the lack of mobility. It's hard for me to get Dozer into games because often the scenarios where you're ahead enough that you can bank to 8 and set up a Dozer and have the Dozer take over, most of the time you'd rather bank one more key and get a Hevo to get the mobility in the AoE. I don't know. Yeah, feel free to ask any questions there, Diego. But yeah, I love Dozer as a Phobie in general. I don't know how excited I am about it. I gotta think about it more. Evo 3.0 and no ability? Are you saying that about what? Dozer? Or what are you talking about, DT? Random fun fact, Barzilla and Chuck are the only 8-key Phobies with no ability if you don't count fire. Oh, you're talking about... I missed the other part. The Barzilla versus Hevo. Yes and no on the... So for this, like, yes, the AoE on Hevo is an ability. It does something different. Aside from take damage, deal damage, and take panic points. No, those are the basics things, right? The AoE is something different because you could get extra damage. Yes, it is just damage, but it imposes different constraints on your opponent because they have to move differently. For Barzilla, yes, the fire is... It's like half an ability, if that makes sense. And the reason I say that is it does cause weird things to happen in certain scenarios, like you want to kill a dimensional a certain way, that sort of thing. But it can also backfire because it's not always extra damage. You actually lose damage if you hit the same thing twice because you're not stacking the fire. Or if you have other fire phobies, they interfere with each other, that sort of thing. So, I don't know about the... I don't know. But yeah, if you're saying Barzilla is Hevo without the AoE, I can see what you're saying. I think it has slightly higher damage and higher HP, but in almost all cases, I think you'd rather have Hevo because I don't know if there's a breakpoint. I'd have to go look what the breakpoints are. Like, are you hitting a breakpoint with Barzilla faster, or just one that you can't with Hevo that necessitates the more damage, or is this damage just good enough and it's fine? Technically, you can stack fire if it's fire on fire. Well, lava and fire, yes, but not Hevo fire, Barzilla fire. So that, I'm not always precise, because most of the time I'm going for entertainment value, so it's whatever description or adjective I happen to think of at the moment. But to be more precise, fire versus lava are different things. I mean, they are anyway in real life, but especially for Phobies, we're talking about it's two different gameplay elements. Alright, chat. I got a ping from the wife. I did see what Ando was saying. Wait, did I hit the gold cup? I hit the gold cup. I didn't know I was going to get that, chat. I didn't think I made it. Alright, chat, we're back. Played a lot of games this week. Well, I didn't get the 42 games for the, the gold season pack last season. And part of that is I had a whole bunch of acing games that just didn't finish. So a lot of them expired or were like about to finish this week. Because what I did is when I realized I wasn't going to hit it last season, I just kind of waited, like delayed it a little bit so that those games finished this week on the hopes that I would get there. Let me see the friggin' laser here. So what would, Onda, you had mentioned something about the pack. Oh, here it is. Oh, wait, about this new teaser, a carnival ticket. What if we can get the carnival ticket from Jack's? Because carnivals usually have a circus tent, and that's where the Jacks are located, even though Jacks are in the box. But inside the box, it looks like the inside of a circus tent, and we can use the carnival ticket to spin a wheel of prizes. Somebody had said a wheel of prizes somewhere else, Onda. Maybe it was in my Discord. Oh, I did. You reposted. Thank you. So, that is an interesting idea. It's entirely possible that they're going to have some sort of mini game, for lack of a better way to put it. And by the time this goes up on YouTube, let me know in the comments. Did we guess right about what the comments that the event had? It is entirely possible that they could do that, because at a carnival you're going to have like all the little games and that sort of stuff. It's also UNR. Then yeah, that's probably where I saw it on the. Like, I don't think it's impossible. It just feels like those are things that it's still early in the game's lifespan for that to happen. So, for example, if you look at Hearthstone, this is just another common digital card game. Their first 2-3 expansions, I don't remember exactly when they introduced the first adventure. I think it was early on. I think, but I don't remember. But they didn't do like extra giveaways or anything like that for the first few expansions. Generally, games don't do that because there's still enough hype to just get people, you know, like just the thought of new stuff is enough to generate the hype to get people to spend money, right? As compared to, say, a year from now, not that people, you know, are going to give up the game a year from now, but Phobies will have been out for a year. People know what the game is, that play the game, that sort of thing. Like, you know what you're getting yourself into. So adding that extra wrinkle helps keep it fresh. And also, of course, entices and incentivizes people to either experience or have the new experience versus getting more stuff or, you know, whatever. It just adds more layers. Is that necessary now? Probably not, and I don't know if the devs
parents have done.
Shut up, Libby. It's not impossible. It's not impossible for that to happen. I would honestly be surprised if they had some other rail, we'll say. Exactly, Honda. It annoys me when it's tough for streaming because there's no way to get Lippy to not talk other than do whatever the hell Lippy's bitching about. Which I understand because that, from a coding perspective, it makes sense. Like, yeah, the player has been idle for X amount of time, so therefore do Y. It's still annoying when I'm trying to do these talks and things. When I try to explain stuff or whatever, Lippy just interrupts. And sometimes I don't even notice because, like, if I'm clicked out, I don't hear the audio and I'm looking at chat. Yeah, it's the frenemy screen is probably the only. Maybe Lippy probably. I don't think Lippy talks to you in here. I don't think. But yeah, frenemies, Lippy doesn't seem to talk to you in. They will talk to you in the fears screen. I don't know if they'll talk to you in quests. But it is what it is. Speaking of talking about stuff, but as I mentioned on many other streams and other recordings at this stage, elections are coming up in the United States. It's very important that if you are eligible, that you vote. If you are eligible to get registered, go get registered. Get registered to vote. Participate in democracy. Democracy necessitates that its citizens are involved in the government and that they actually engage in the system. Otherwise, it falls prey to what the Republican Party is presenting, which is lunatics, fascists, and other problematic entities and personalities that are trying to destroy America, quite plainly. And it's not going to stop with America. They are a threat to everybody. On top of that, excuse me, on top of that, as mentioned on many other occasions before, if you have the opportunity to donate or volunteer or in some way assist charities, it is imperative for the governments to help their people. But until the scenarios and the world is perfect, we have to do what we can in the meantime to bridge the gaps. It is crucial that we assist those who need help. People should not be out on islands and just be left to die, quite plainly, because either a natural disaster, as we've seen all across the world happen, or a man-made disaster all across the world happen, ultimately resulting in a bunch of people losing their lives or losing their livelihoods and everything else. If you're able to help, please do. There are tons of ways that you can support, even if it's not necessarily with money. Find a charity, find a cause, find a way to help out. This isn't, I'm not going to give you the pitch if you'll feel warm and fuzzy inside. It is just a good thing to do. It really is. And every little bit will help. It's important. But to bring it back, every little bit also will help when we're talking about elections and we're talking about democracy and we're talking about governance. It is important that you get involved. It's important that you research your candidates. Make sure you know what they're going to do when you put them into office, because they are ultimately going to be in power for some period of time and dictating policy and how not just your life, not just your life, but other citizens' lives are impacted. And especially in the United States, it just has a wide reach throughout the world. I'm going to keep bringing this up, and I know people aren't always fond hearing about it or talking about it or comfortable with these things, but I think it is crucial that this is discussed and put out and brought into the light. So that's it for this time. Here we go. Chat, I don't think we're trying to turn to what's his face? Russell this time. We're gonna go with a little more standard. A little more standard here. We'll see what we can do. Dogewhal might have something cooking. Dogewhal might have something cooking. Let's see what they got. As I mentioned before, this is my least favorite map out of all the maps. And oddly enough, it made a reappearance, which is very interesting to me. So what are you sending to the north, Dogewhal? Gonna be a Contortio. No, it's not. Contortio is going to the center. Interesting, okay. It's gonna be a cat. Going to be the cat. We'll see, Honda, we'll see. It's not gonna last forever. Nothing lasts forever. We'll make a strong effort. So this has pretty much been my standard. I'm realizing offline that I opened up incorrectly going second on this map, but this is kind of my standard opener to a degree on here. Turn to Russell is not good because they can see it and just use mech phobies. That's the goal for Go, is I want to push them into mech and then follow it up with something that punishes mech. Now, going second, like a turn 2 Russell on, say, this map actually might be pretty good, because imagine this turn they rustled these 3 phobies. That's not actually bad. Because this is dimensional. They Clinico or something this, and then this probably just dies for freezies, right? Like, I think it's not unreasonable to do it that way. Ooh, Quagmire action. Seems good. Seems good. Yeah, that's why I summon Russell when they have like 6 phobies and most of them can be poisoned. I mean, that's the ideal scenario, but it's as we were talking about, I don't even know if it's that good when that happens. I don't know if that's good enough. 230, huh? I think Jar only does like 220 at this level. Ugh, that's bad. So I think we actually can't do this then. I think we just do like this. And then how do we follow this up? Our opponent is at 6 keys. This will let us keep banking for now. Yeah, we could have... I forgot about the fire, legitimately. The fire would have got it. Sparky or Zappy? What? Now? Oh, you're talking about for the Russell thing? Yeah, so coming back to that. The idea for the turn 2 Russell is that your opponent responds with mechs. But the thing is that I think they can respond with, like, just Clinico and Hevo and be fine. I don't think they actually sacrifice that much by doing it, is the problem. Ooh, the honey bear. I like it. I like it. So yeah, we could have killed the cat. Like, that was just a mistake, not doing that. So this hits, this hits. This will be 6, 1,000, 1,300. That's actually exactly enough to kill this. So we can't get hit by everything. If we do, we just lose it. I think we want this. A spider's probably better, but I want to get this online. So that means only this and this can connect with the Jin Sting. Electric Cat against the world, yep. I just tried Dozer, I'm not impressed, seems like a bow mangle's way more expensive. That's the thing, is like, Dozer is that. It's just a matter of whether that's important for your particular game plan at that point in time. This is actually a pretty good setup here for dogewhal. Because you puke on here, and then it's going to be 2-2, and you recap these. Because, like, the panic points are even now. But yeah, the feels better if you're against one-move phobies. Dozer, I think, is a bully on small maps, because then you can just get it involved right away, right? Like, it's more... It's a much simpler game plan to get it... Trying to fix my chair. Trying to get it up and involved than if you were to try and do it other ways. I kind of want to go spider, I think. I want to get a repeller online, but I think spider's important enough to do it here. I'm not sure why the squiggles is going up here, honestly. Like, squiggles needs to be down here if it was going to do anything, but... The cat doesn't even really need to be here. It's not going to do anything. Yeah, Quagmire doesn't... It's weird looking at the level 1 Phobies, because it's like, oh yeah, my whatever is so good, and then you go to level 1, that's like, oh yeah, it lost all those advantages. Whoops. I forgot. Why Squiggles there? I don't know. I don't know. But we're trading mistakes, because, like, I screwed up not killing the 1 keys here. Like, we'd still have a panic point advantage here if this cat was dead from, like, turn 3 or whatever it was, where I legitimately just blanked about the fire. Which, I don't know how I did that, but I'm gonna blame it on I'm tired. I'm just gonna blame it on being tired, chat. It's an easy excuse. It's an easy excuse. Ooh, we got a little Chuck action. Yeah, a little Chuck. Or a big Chuck. Your mileage may vary. Chuck is at 1800 health. Okay, then. So our cat will not die to this or this. Not like it particularly matters, but get this ready. We just need to get everything into position so we can collapse on said Chuck. I mean, we don't really have enough damage yet. Actually, maybe we do this. This is probably fine. Here. This is probably okay, I think. Honestly, I was legitimately looking at Mordeonda. I'm not even joking. Not even joking. I legit was thinking Morty. The reason is that Morty, I mean, even at level 1, Morty's representing... Game? Trying to click on the vault and won't let me. Morty's representing 700 damage, which is nearly half the health of this Chuck. That's a lot. Russell, I mean, Russell's also not a bad idea. We have 12 keys left, so we could threaten a Russell at some stage. There's 2 undead on the board, but Onda has 15 keys, so we need to... Or, Onda. dogewhal has 15 keys. We need more investment for that to pan out. And now we have 7 Phobies anyway, so I'm going to have to wait. It's a bold bird. Alright, can we set up a funny play here, chat? Can we set up a funny play?
That is the mark.
Actually, do I need the snowball? I might not need the snowball. Yeah. I wasn't sure if we were going to need it.
And damage for you, and damage for you.
Hashtag got him. Oh no. That was a funny play. It was cute. It was cute. So we are gonna, like, this is all gonna get powered off. Because it's gonna happen this turn. We can't advance here. There's 7 keys, so, like, hypothetically, the spider or whatever is dead. Because this comes in, this can hit it, and then stuff coming out of there. So I want to be able to punish things, but not overextend. Like, this seems fine. I don't think there's any way... 1, 2, 3... Like, I don't think there's any way you can kill this Ginseng. Hypothetically, I guess it's possible, but... Get booped. Chuck is now falling in that eternal pit that we talked about a few streams ago. Many streams ago. Many moons ago. I love the Minotaur attack animation. It's just great to me. It's so good. Alright, so we should be able to punish this. But this should also be a dead spider, so maybe not. Ooh, we got a little disease action going. Got a little Pescetti action happening here, chat. There is literally no chance of us saving the spider. Because even if we walked it back in order to do a heal just to give it more health, obviously we're not getting rid of the disease, we can't save it. Unfortunate, but true. We might have been able to do the damage differently here and come out better, but I'm not sure. 585. Yeah, we still have max Phobies, so I can't follow up. I could have just clicked on this instead of counting, but it is what it is. Ms. Moffat poison damage is scary. It absolutely is. I mean, in this case, it didn't, you know, like, I'm going for the actual kills immediately. It's your time, Electric Cat. Get in there, buddy. Waiter, my soup is flaccid. No, not my murder wing. Chat really wants this Russell to happen. Chat is all about this Russell. Oh, man, chat. These allergies are just killing me. I'm telling you, we talked about it before, but my allergies were good for years, and then the last few years have been brutal. Shako? I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but welcome. What, the Russell? Make the Russell happen? I mean, we could. Now I can, because now I can put Phobies on the board. I couldn't do it before. I feel like I'm getting baited into this Russell. You're from Chile? Alright, cool. I like to pronounce people's names correctly, so I apologize if I'm doing it wrong. We've talked about it before. The stream is very international. We have people from all over the globe. I know there's a number of people that it's already Monday morning for them very early. There's other people that it's like 3 in the morning. Well, I guess it's still technically Monday morning, but it's like 3 in the morning. And then, obviously, here in the US of A, other time slots. I don't want to overextend into this. Like, our opponent has to do something now. Like, we will go with Russell, because we can. Russell has 200 poison damage at level 1. Is that good, chat? I legitimately don't know how to interpret that. Like, is that worthwhile? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can get one more Phobie. Get one more Phobie, but I think we're going to hold the keys for now. We'll hold the keys for now and see what happens. 2140? So you're about an hour ahead of me. That's alright, dogewhal. I've lost tons of people tons of times, so no big deal. It's not a big deal. I think that's what I like about the viewer challenge games is it's intentionally trying to have a good time. Alright, so we get the obvious Clinico to answer the Russell. Which I'm very curious if it is Russell on the announcement. It sure as hell looks like Russell. You know, Chad, I wonder if we're going to get an alternate skin Russell. Like, are we going to get a palette swap Russell? That would be kind of cool. Is it Russell with the caw, but it gives disease? How busted would that be? It would have to be like 25 disease damage or something really, really stupid like that. It's Russell Crow Skull with red eyes. Does it have red eyes, or is it just the background is red? I don't know if that makes a real significant difference, but... we'll do this. Obviously, we'll caw. We'll caw from here. The caw! It's such a cool ability. Zero... what's it called? 0 keys left. Couldn't think of the word for a second. I'm struggling today, chat. It's a struggle. 0 keys for our opponent. My poor Squiggles didn't get to touch. Yep. No heart punching for Squiggles. Do get the cure here, which is funny. This is a 2-turn cooldown. This is a 4-turn cooldown. As we talked about on many occasions, Clinico seems to just completely invalidate Russell. Gravedigger up there, this is fine. Don't worry about it, buddy. Honestly, like, Gravedigger technically is fine. It's going to tank the poison. Punch the bee. Squiggles does, in fact, bubblegum the Jin Sting. What are you doing? dogewhal, what is happening? Get a little bubblegum action going. A little bit of bubblegum. Oh, baby. Inflatable Squiggles, exactly. There should be a pool toy Squiggles. What do you think, chat? Would you buy that? Would you buy an inflatable Squiggles for your pool, if you had a pool? Or if, you know, there was like a public pool or something you could go to? Would you bring an inflatable Squiggles? Because I feel like that would be a little weird. I think you'd get some weird looks from people. Sorry, I was looking at the spreadsheet for a second. Squiggles is gone. These guys will get whittled down eventually. Snipe the jar. This jar can start softening this up. You can swing around here. Russell can get all up in the action. You were here. I guess we'll just go here. That's fine. Oh, why am I getting... Nah... Whatever. I don't... Let's get this. I was gonna get the muffin, like, oh, we can cure the poison. Oh, wait, it's not poison, it's disease. Duh. It's your time, Clinico. You're the chosen one. You were supposed to be the chosen one! Those weird looks are from the... that just happen to be at the pool. Bringing inflatable Squiggles as a show of dominance. Squish the Squiggles toys don't look like that. Little spaghetti action. Angel hair spaghetti, Chad. That's what I'm thinking. Angel hair spaghetti. Replacing. He's locked in. You're not trapped in here with me. I'm trapped in here with myself. It's weird. The Gravedigger bunker will survive months.
Taught and retaught as sure as torture. Those that fear you make you strong.
Wow, we didn't kill that thing. Alright, so you do this. You do this. You do this. We gotta crack this. The classic card gamer. The classic card gamer. Unless Russell. I mean, yeah, Russell's offline in 2 more turns. But what's funny is even that will still take a couple turns for the poison to tick. It's so stupid. Russell is funny, but I don't know. I don't think Russell's actually that good. I'm fairly disappointed in Russell. But again, I don't know that Russell can be much better. I think it would be oppressive if Russell was even just a tiny bit better. Because it would be just so difficult to address. Alright, so now we'll punch our way through. Try to. Game. Time to hit the default dance, Gravedigger. What's funny is the Gravedigger can put up an obstacle. Oh no, it can't put up an obstacle yet. Womp wah. Well, we'll block him off so that he can't do any shenanigans anyway. GG, dogewhal. GG. Break it in, you can't hide forever. Here's Johnny! You know, I never thought The Shining was scary. What do you think, Chad? Were you scared of The Shining at any point? I literally don't think I've ever been frightened of The Shining. And I don't remember the first time I saw it. But I don't remember ever being scared of it. You've never seen it, Forgo? I think it's worth watching. I never read the book. Did you know there were sequels to The Shining? Wow, there's a couple of people that haven't seen The Shining. GG, dogewhal. There's a couple of people that haven't seen The Shining. That's surprising. It's one of those movies that it feels like everybody has watched. You know, one of those things. But speaking of watching, let's watch another gameplay breakdown. So what are we at on here? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 4 more that we got to do tonight. We got to do 4 more in an hour, chat. So we're probably going to focus on this for the remainder. Of course, if there are any fun discussions that come up, feel free to throw them in. Ooh. Virus going up against Vazey. Our hero Virus in the orange trunks here on Crypto. The notes are, this match is as old as a dinosaur, but it's my only interesting match. You've had a number of interesting ones, Virus. You've had a number of interesting ones, so we'll see what's interesting about this one. So far, we're getting fairly standard openers. I tend to send... I mean, this is a minor thing, but you can send the Gravedigger to cap these points, whether it's first player or second player, and then swing back and break the obstacle afterwards. Because you don't need to break the obstacle on turn 1. There's no advantage to doing it compared to turn 2. At least right now, unless the meta develops so that the other player does something to force you into something else. But, I don't see any... Like, you don't have to pop it on turn 1 is what it boils down to. I was scared of Toy Story with the purple bear when I was a kid. That's Toy Story 3, right? Because that's the one everybody always says Gonzo Bonzo's from, right? My plan was to use Gravedigger to break the top wall near your vault to swing in Squiggles from the back, but I ended up locking myself in a corner. I think the problem with that game plan, dogewhal, is that in order to... Like, you're talking about from the top on Phobos to, like, swing all the way around and come onto the top of my heart? Because that's literally right next to my vault. There's no chance Squiggles survives. Like, no chance. Plus, that's also going to take, I don't know, like 4 millennia to just traverse the map. It's super telegraphed. Assuming I'm interpreting what the game plan was correctly. But speaking of game plan, so we get a turret here. I was going to wait for you to waste your keys. That's fair. But even then, it's still like I could retreat. You're going to bait the Russell? Gotcha, gotcha. I figured the cheering for Russell in chat was a bait. Trying for a little debated action. Happen to stop chatting for an extended period of time. Probably fall asleep. Fair, Scrunkle. Well, get some rest. Nobody should lose sleep on my account. I appreciate everybody hanging out. But you can always catch the VODs. I do leave the VODs up. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, easily you can catch it there. Come by the live stream. RT Chomp GG if you're not going to mess up your sleep pattern. Likes and subscribes. Speaking of sleep pattern, I'm tired. The Russell baited me. Gotcha. So, we're just getting some trading here. That's part of the reason why I was checking on chat. How the turn's twisted. How the turntable. But yeah, we're just getting some trading here. Nothing is too abnormal out of this, I don't think. Labyrinth at the top of the map kind of looks cool. I'm very curious about that. But we get a Chuck. That's kind of been a Vasey special. Chuck on Crypto. Blastomatic and Beauty, which is funny because Beauty, people were complaining about Beauty again. And what's funny is I really haven't seen Beauty that much since the nerf. What do you think, chat? Like, do you think Beauty's okay now? Or have people just avoided Beauty because they're tired of using her? Vasey taking a page from my book. Unicorn Chuck Gravedigger. I think Vasey has been a Chuck enjoyer for some time now. I vaguely remember somebody else submitting a game replay where Vasey went Chuck and they were able to crush through it. But our hero Virus is bank into 6, has a Hevo on the board. I don't know how they answer the Chuck yet. Which, by the way, this is a level 11 Chuck. Almost 600 damage. Did Beauty get another nerf? No, not yet. But people were calling for it. And I just don't know if Beauty needs another one. I just haven't seen it. And the only games I've seen it in, I ended up beating it. But that was also because they mispositioned the Beauties. Like, there was an error made. Speaking of repositioning, so we're just building up the forces here. 5 Phobies to 5 Phobies. But there isn't enough damage here to really crush this Chuck. And you can't... Our hero's down on keys, so they can't sit back and try to, like, trade 1 keys forever. Because they will end up losing that exchange. And I'm not real clear how they're going to get to this Chuck with the spider. We're on turn 15 of 32, so almost halfway there. It's still the best Phobie for the most part, Beauty. I mean, I could see that. It could probably stand for another minor nerf, but is that absolutely necessary? I don't know. So we're just getting the 1 key trading, 6 keys remaining to 7 keys. Spider repositioning. Why is the spider repositioning here? I mean, it's healing because it took that shot. So I guess that's fine because you're not going to go in on this Chuck just yet. I'm honestly unclear how our hero breaks this position yet. Kaboom is clearly the best Phobie in the game. I mean, Honda would have you believe it. I feel Beauty is fine now. I'm curious whether I haven't seen it because people think it's worse or not good enough, or if we're not seeing it because people are sick of playing it. I think people that used to use Beauty a lot got tired of everyone complaining about it constantly. See, I mean, you were around for the Runestrike days, DT. That would motivate certain players, namely Dr. Traffic and me, personally. Like, if people don't like a certain thing and they're going to complain about it, I'm going to keep doing it just to farm the tiers. Both literal and figurative. I'm not sure what this break does. I feel like you'd rather have the break available so that way you could hypothetically break something and send the spider in to yoink the Chuck. But I don't know. We'll see what happens here.
Glorious is glorious.
I already watched this game and spider went there because Chuck damaged it. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Like, it's just to heal it up. So this is an interesting play. Because this spider could just die. 1600 health. So you move this up. You deal 457. And then another 800. No, this won't die. This won't die. You could beat it up. Also, people complaining about Beauty won't affect its use rate. A lot of people wouldn't care or aren't in the Discord server. Yes and no, it depends what percentage of Beauty players are in the Discord. Because the challenge there is, Beauty is an ultra rare, it's entirely possible that just by the way it worked out, like it's oh wait, what? Was this spider still damaged? I thought they healed it up. How did this? Oh no, it's in range of the chuck, so it is dead. Never mind. The chuck, I was thinking the chuck moves onto the stem, but it doesn't actually need to. So this was a spider trade. Spider and Bachelor for Gravedigger. And AWOL, technically, but like, this doesn't look good. The spider was your answer to the chuck. I don't know what you do here. You're down keys. Actually, you're still down keys because your 1-drop has to come in. Okay. Okay, so game plan here is just annihilate everything. So if the chuck stays in position to hit the Hevo or this Gravedigger, it'll get tagged by the sheep. This is interesting. This is actually a good heads-up play by Virus. And we get the Hydra. This is a level 10 Hydra. Almost 4k health. Honestly, Scrungle, I have no problem if Beauty became common. I think it would do weird things to the meta, but, like, we can talk about that after the game. So at this point, I think Vazie's cooked. I think Vazie's cooked because you just can't get enough damage. This would... when we get closer, I'll cycle back to this group of turns, because this is what it is. Don't you lose corn too? Yeah, I think that was part of that exchange, but that's why I want to go back to that turn and talk more about what went on there. Hey, Moro, what's up? What's good? I mean, Hydra will end turn on the opposite side. Yeah, Hydra's an interesting choice here. So this Hevo that was seemingly locking up the game suddenly down to 218 health. And the Hydra just doesn't have enough actions. The Hydra seems like a mistake. I kind of feel like the Hydra was a preemptive concession. The Hydra was probably a preemptive concession. There is an argument that this was, like, to try and get the Hydra here, but, like, look at that, 271 health. So we're going to go back. Whoop. Game, please. The game is obviously over at that stage. The Hevo just kills the Hydra. But it's very easy to look at these board states and go, yeah, this game is over. But this is the turn that wins the game, which I think is difficult to see. And I hope I was getting that across when we were watching it live. But, like, it isn't clear here that you are able to, excuse me, from this board state, it isn't clear that Vazie's going to lose the trading war here. Because you have the 1-drop to beat their 1-drop. You already have stuff on the stem. The traps are mostly irrelevant. But, like, on its surface, you're trading your 1-drop and Spider for nonsense. You know, like, the Gravedigger is mostly irrelevant to this stage. They're going to recap the point. You get the Spider for freezies. But the follow-up here is what's important. I think it's appropriate for Vazie to kill the Spider, but as everything plays out from here, I think this is the logical play pattern, that once you got into that position, jockeyed for that position, because if Vazie chooses to not kill anything here, they're in a rough spot, because now the sheep can run down the Chuck eventually. The argument here could be, you get like one more 1-drop as Vazie, and then try and use Chuck on the stem to annihilate everything, but, like, if you don't kill this stuff, the sheep is just going to connect with the Chuck anyway. There's really no way to do anything here. Like, this decides the game. The Hydra, in my opinion, is irrelevant. No matter what they went, I don't think it changes the scope of the game. Because say there's a Jin Sting here instead. It ends up being, like, Jin Sting versus Hevo, possibly. Because the sheep dies this turn, right? Yeah, the sheep ends up dying. The Hydra having to go here on this is awful. I guess if you went with a Gin Sting, and the Gin Sting is here on the stem, so you get the 2 attacks, kills this, you get the beat up Hevo, but then you still have to walk into their team. Something has to stand on the stem, which then obviously dies to the stabby, right? Like, the Gin Sting is now on the center point instead of this. Gin Sting just dies to these, and then you're in the same scenario. Gin Sting gonna threaten by sheep and gas? Yeah, well, you'd have to put the Gin Sting where the Hydra... So, Gin Sting would have to come out and go here, because if you went on the stem immediately, it gets hit by the sheep and gas as well. And then I think you end up losing anyway, because I don't think you kill the Hevo and the sheep in that scenario. Even with it on the stem. Because you have to... Well, actually, maybe you do? Depending on what level their Gin Sting is, you could possibly kill this Hevo. It's unlikely, but it's possible. And then you still get this hit with sheep. You still have to advance in. The Gin Sting, remember, would be hit with sheep, but you could go down here and heal. But you'd still have to recap these points, and it would be like... Eventually, the Gin Sting ends up on a panic point, and this stabby blows it up, is what it's going to amount to. I think. I don't think that... Because even in this scenario, like... You could pop the... Assuming the Hevo lives, but it's at, like, 100 health. You get one last hit on this and walk away. Or you just double walk away and go stand on your healing spot. And I just don't... I think after this exchange in the center with the spider, I think Vazzy was cooked. Also could have gone Unbearable. I think Unbearable runs into the same issue. Because Unbearable would, because of how slow it is, it would absolutely be in range of Stabby just lighting it up. Like, remember, this Hydra survives because it has almost 4k health. Granted, it had to walk on the lava twice, or sit on the lava, but, like, you're talking way, way less health if it's any other phobie at 4 cost, basically. But well played there, Virus. Well played. That was a pretty cool game. You can, in fact, beat the Chuck. Can, in fact, beat the Chuck. Alright, chat, we're back. Crimson Bow, welcome. What's good? Had the Chuck not gotten poisoned, Vazzy could have gone Gonzo Bonzo and gone for an aggressive push. Yes, but that was the entire setup, is... I think that our hero was setting up that sheep play on the Chuck with the spider push. Like, they 100% knew they were going to go sheep after everything finished out. So the only option really was for Vazzy to try and retreat when the sheep hit the board and salvage from that position. But obviously that didn't happen, so. Or don't exit the replay? That was weird. Alright, chat. Let's get some more gamer reviews. Well, there is a gamer review that's coming in. But first, before the gamer one, we have a Renamon replay that we want to take a peek at. More viewer game reviews, and as always, if you want to get your own game reviews, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. The link for that, and of course this live stream, are in the description. And as always, likes and subscribes do in fact help. Renamon here. Looks like another crypto game. How to beat Grimes, 100% guaranteed for free and totally not get wrecked by Grimes. LOL. Alright, so our hero's in the orange trunks, staring down an early snowball opener here on Crypto. And I think we're seeing a good boy about to learn about the Rainbow Bridge. No, we're not. Ooh. Ah, Moro, I'm sorry. You can watch the VODs. Like, I leave the VODs up. Or this will be up on YouTube later on. If you want to check that out, if you want to look for other stuff. It will be a while before this particular record. I'm a few weeks behind, but... I also want you to review on what the opponent could have done for this game. We're going. So this is interesting. Like, first of all, well, this is a level 11 snowball, so it's pretty tanky. But this is bold here, like just doing this, because I'm like 99% sure. I'm now second guessing myself, but I think you start with, yes, I do, Moro. There you go. It's the bot will post it eventually, but there are a bunch of other commands. I know people forget about the bot being there, but if you do exclamation point commands, it'll give you a list. All right, dogewhal, have a good night. Take it easy. Thanks for hanging out. So, the reason that the snowball here is super aggressive is, well, obviously, like, it almost died. It lived with 12 health. This is a level 9 murder wing, so just one higher level probably kills it. You can bank on your opponent not having it, but that takes some balls, because you would have just incinerated, like, they would have recapped the point, and you just incinerated 3 keys for no purpose. So, like, I don't know. The Maggie follow-up here is a little weird. It's a little weird. But we do get a Grimes. We do, in fact, see a little grimy action. We did see Grimes show up in the finals of Fright Night number 3, which that video is now live on YouTube, if you haven't seen that yet. By the time this is recorded, probably everybody's aware, but it was very cool finals, very funny game 3. A little anticlimactic, but... Oh no, chat. Oh no. Oh, okay. I was like, is this Grimes just dead? Because that would be bad. There's a lot of mean things that are about to happen, which, by the way, if you have Grimes, I mean, you couldn't do it in this scenario, but that was something that our Fright Night champion did show off multiple times in the event, was taking the center panic point on this map with Grimes. Given the opener that Bad Guy had here, you couldn't, because, again, if you went straight to the middle, it's like, okay, they swing back, they fireball, and then they hit it with Murder Wing. You live, but you've now crippled it, and you got to take time to heal it up, and you can't threaten as much, but it is an interesting thought. So you have chosen death. Apparently they have. And we get the Clinico. You got to protect this investment, and at this stage, honestly, Grimes is arguably threatening enough on its own right now. Level 11, it's not going to have full health yet, but it's up to 780 damage. That's already threatening enough, one could argue. You get the aggressive Bachelor. I don't know about that, because that thing's just going to die for free. Like, they could kill that for free, kill this, and not have lost all that much, so I don't really agree with the Bachelor going in. What? Wait, what? 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 I think that was to block the stim. I guess, like... Okay, we'll look at that and then we'll come back to this perplexing play. So you're blocking the stim here from what? The Jin Sting? I don't know. I guess. This whole series, this entire turn from Bad Guy is fascinating. So the Spud stays on the vault to kill this. Not necessary. All that effort was expended to get a single hit on the Jin Sting, which is now in range of the Grimes, as well as the Murder Wing that's still on the stim. When instead they could have, even if you still went Spud, you didn't go something else, you go Spud down here, pop this. Swing this back, kill it. Fireball is down, but then you could hit this twice and then Jin Sting this. So these two are dead and you're still safe? The way this turn ends, like this positioning, looks horrible. Let's see how our hero punishes this. pretty much as expected. So Grimes is feasting. 1040 on damage here, chat. This Grimes is already out of control. Like, I don't know what bad guy does from this stage. I know we were talking about that in the previous game of, oh, I don't know how they get out of the chuck. But unless you disease this Grimes and somehow don't die in the meantime, I don't think that Grimes can die. And it's gonna almost, I mean, it's gonna one-shot the things that are on the board. Maybe not the Gravedigger, but it one-shots this, it one-shots this, obviously. It's gonna one-shot this. The Grimes is absolutely gonna feast. I don't know, this one is... Yeah, you kill this. You kill this, reclaim the point. And then you kill the Murder Wing. Chat, we saw a couple games earlier that felt like they were beatdowns. This one is a beatdown. We had a bad sushi. I mean, at this stage, yeah, bad guy is clearly got to be phoning it in here. We've talked about it before. I'm not of the opinion that Grimes is broken or anything like that. Grimes is good, yes. Grimes is a threat. You have to respect the Grimes. But this just felt like... Oh no, bad sushi, what will it do? It's going to become actual sushi shortly. 1,300 damage on this Grimes, chat. And a Minotaur. Final Phobie. 9 keys remaining for our hero, for the record. Just in case anybody was curious, there's still 9 keys available. What could bad guy have done? Because that question came up earlier. You absolutely do not feed the Grimes like 5 Phobies. That would be... And a Smother Mother is the final... Like, this game is clearly over. So, there's no point in watching the end of the game. This is just going to be a massacre, right? So, problem number 1... was this turn. How do you go from this position to this? The only way that I think that this is a... or the only thought process I can think of is that bad guy forgot that Grimes is burrow. But Grimes literally burrowed on the previous turn. But the only thing I can think is, oh, they just straight up forgot that Grimes is burrow. And they're like, well, you can't get there. You can't get to me, so my Jin Sting is safe. It'll take a bunch of damage, but it'll live. As soon as this happened, the game was over, because you have to retreat from there. And then you have, you know, your barely alive Snowball, your soon-to-be-dead Murder Wing, and you still have a very threatening Grimes. But at least if you pull back, you have the opportunity to try and make something happen. By advancing, there's just... You've officially handed the game to your opponent. I don't think there's any way you can come back after this turn, and then you follow it up with this turn. No, no, no. Yeah, you're going to try and make its stomach burst by overfeeding it? Like, is that the strategy? Yeah, chat, that was just... Again, I hope if any of the bad guys in any of these games are watching it, that they don't take it personally. I'm not trying to insult people. But that one, ooh, that was painful to watch. That was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. It almost felt like they were... I mean, later in the game, they were absolutely just phoning it in. It's like, there's no way to beat that. I don't think bad guy needed to... And maybe they were frustrated, because a lot of people do this with a variety of phobies. Excuse me. They'll see a phobie, say Grimes, Beauty, Chuck, those sort of things. The big scary ones. They see that phobie, and then they immediately check out mentally, because they go, I can't beat that. There's no way to beat it. I've lost to that however many times, or this has happened, or that has happened, and blah, blah, blah. And that's not actually true. Obviously, we've seen that. We've seen people who are way higher level throw games with these powerful phobies, or the lower level person just makes cool plays and gets there. Will we get to your game today, Kratosss? We already did one of yours this weekend. So, no, it'll be for next week. We did because you had 2 on there. But I think a lot of people, and I don't know that this is what happened to Bad Guy, but a lot of people do just get the fear. They get the fear when they see these things, and then, yes, could you, like, was Bad Guy screwed in that game? Maybe. Like, it's entirely possible that they didn't have the resources to beat Grimes in their collection. But that isn't necessarily true, and I think a lot of people, myself included, will check out of frustration. And I don't know if that initial Jin Sting invade was a mistake, like they forgot that Grimes had Burrow, or it was a mistake because they, out of frustration, they went in and they should not have, and therefore they lost everything. Because that absolutely did it. I appreciate that, Jacob. I try to. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Those 35 turns, you should have been here when I had 50. I have 49 total games. It's just, I just haven't, the other people got to act. But yeah, we're going to try and get through, we'll keep doing game reviews until the stream is over. There's only 4 in the list, so we might do yours, Kratosss, but I want to get the other ones, since we already did one of your games. But speaking of game reviews, we're going to jump in. This is a gamer one. We haven't looked at a gamer game submitted by gamer in a while. So this is against A-Trend. Oh, this is going to be a good one. So we have a high-level game breakdown, but not a separated one like we usually do. Our hero here is Gamer in the blue trunks, zoning into Eternal Monday against A-Trend. Notes here are Electric Cat threatens Hevo, and Bo mangles for the win. So we'll have to see how this plays out. This is going to be pretty interesting. I've been trying to break out and do higher-level game breakdowns so that we can all learn together. One of the key things to improving at Phobies is just observing other people play. You'll either see new lines, new strategies, and put yourself in their shoes of the why. Answering the, whoa. Speaking of why did A-Trend only play a cat here on turn 1? Because they went turn 2 Mount Crushmore. All right. Grimes, once it gets rolling, will steam through anything, even Cerberus. Yes. The key is to not let it get there, and that's the thing. That's the threat. Okay, we'll pause for a second just to finish up the Grimes thing. So, Grimes is similar to Sheep and Gas. It's melee, it's a 4-cost phobie, and it exerts influence on an area. It is not necessarily an actual threat. Well, I take that back. It's a threat. It's not... Its bark is worse than its bite, is how I would put it. Because it threatens that something's going to happen, but it's unlikely in most circumstances that it's actually going to connect. Similar to Sheep and Gas, because even though we just saw it a couple game reviews ago, what happens is Sheep and Gas forces your opponent to give ground. Similarly, Grimes can exert that pressure to make your opponent fall back. Is, oh, well, if I connect, the Grimes is going to grow, and it will snowball out of control. So you, as the other player, avoid it. The problem is then you have range phobies or long-range phobies, like Jar or just plain range phobies, pick it apart. That's the thing. So Grimes is super scary looking, but it generally is not actually that scary. Now, it could also be we just don't see Grimes in the hands of very good players frequently because it is an ultra rare. They might just not have it, sort of thing. So maybe as more players get it, we'll see more busted Grimes plays. But there is absolutely counterplay to Grimes. Just put it at that. So in the meantime, we get a build up of forces here from our hero here. Similar to the DT strategy that came up earlier on this map, and I've been talking about over the last few streams. Because DT had thrown the idea out there publicly first, but I was thinking about it. We'll say. But credit to DT, where credit is due. A-Trend breaks this block, but instead of with Gravedigger, it is in fact Crushmore. So we're getting the one key trading that has been the hallmark of Eternal Monday for a while. But giving ground could be bad. Well, that's what you hope to do with Grimes. So the one key buildup is still happening. Bank to 5 here from Gamer. We haven't seen... We'll see if A-Trend follows up with a turret. Right now, getting the one key staged. And a bank to 7. So contrary to what DT has been championing, we're instead getting still the stalemate and 1 key trades, and both players are trying to go into higher cost phobies. 8 for Gamer in the bank. Let's see. Jar is the follow-up from A-Trend. Makes sense since Jar can one-shot the boom here. This is an interesting reposition because you can get multiple hits. Obviously, the Unicorn will die. But the follow-up Jin Sting, which puts A-Trend back down at 3 keys, probably shoos everything away. Yep. It's not worth hanging around for this. You take your shot, and then you back off. Force them to commit into you. And a foul. Ooh, alright. Alright, Gamer, let's see. I see you. I see you. The retreat from Crushmore here is very interesting. I mean, I get it. It's damaged. But you're not... You obviously want to avoid the foul. Excuse me. My allergies, man. I can't wait until this is over. It'll happen. Alright, so softening up the Jin Sting. The Jar movement makes this a little weird. You're going to have to reposition oddly as A-Trend, but the foul here is actually in a fantastic spot. Not particularly because it's on this panic point, but because it's going to be really tough for A-Trend to actually commit into anything. Honestly, I could see the foul just hitting the Jin Sting here and saying, alright, just annihilate it. The Crushmore does get a second break. And we get Hevo as the follow-up. So the Hevo this aggressively makes the foul aggression less good, but foul is still... Ooh. I had assumed that this would not be enough damage, but this is a level 10 Jar against a level 13 Snowball. For those of you out there that were not aware, the devs published a while ago a spreadsheet you can find in the official Discord. Or my Discord, if you want to come by the RTChompGG Discord, link in the description. But there's an official Phobies spreadsheet that the devs provided that have all the stats to Phobies at level 1. And one of the things that you can learn by examining that is that an on-level Snowball, so a level 13 Snowball, will one-shot a level 13 Jar with Shish Kebab. It's clearly going to annihilate one that is under-leveled as it is here, so... Snipe the Jar. I didn't think the Jar was going to be exposed unless it would survive. Clearly, it's not going to. Now, the Snowball will pay with its life, but this is important because that means that the Jar will no longer be able to get on the stem. This allows the foul to go in and hit this Jin Sting. Also, this Snowball body blocks so that the Crushmore can't get a hit on the foul. Get a little Thunder Rocks action going on. Little Thunder Rocks. And we know there's an Electrocat coming based on the notes, so this is a lot of electrical damage. It's pretty cool. I imagine the foul is not long for the world. And we get Bow Mangles as the final Phobie. This is a little odd given that there's already a Thunder Rocks on the board. But Thunder Rocks is likely going to die the second that it goes in. The panic point advantage is in our hero's favor here. I'm not sure what A-Trend did wrong, because this scenario seems just really bad. I guess maybe playing it too patiently? Oh no, not like this. The traps from the last Ice Age. Bam! Got him! So we get a little damage going down. 21 damage just to finish it off. It's kind of funny. But the position here protects the Jar. So, ultimately, this thing doesn't eat it, but it's at 777 health. That's not going to last very long. And remember, if any... the Jar from 19th... Exactly, the Jar from 10,000 years ago. So... You have to keep in mind that foul, over 900 damage a clip. If it walks up and punches something, you're gonna feel it. Oh my god, chat! You gotta watch this again. This is such a sick play. I don't know if Gamer had intended this to happen, because hypothetically, like, they move up and try and damage the foul, but that's unlikely. There's a few different plays that A-Trend could have had, but I wonder if Gamer actually saw this coming to set up the trap on this to get the crush more. How bad does that have to feel? That's got to be so demoralizing. So now, this foul, 900 health. I mean, this position isn't terrible. Because, like, this will... Oh, this doesn't one-shot the jar. Oh, my God. An Electric Cat is the follow-up. It's still not a terrible, terrible position. But you have to kill the foul here. And you don't have enough damage to one-shot the jar because this is a pretty high-level jar. It's a level 13 jar. So Hevo hightails it out of here in order to heal up. This is pretty cool. This is a pretty sick game. This is a pretty sick game. I mean, honestly, it's weird. Oh, Shaco and Crimson Boat, thank you for the follows. Much appreciated. I missed those earlier, but thank you. It's weird to say, oh, well, Gamer won because of traps, right? You know, A-Trend just got unlucky because they stepped on the traps, but there are certain points where, yeah, the whole point is you played the trap in order to bait them into stepping on the trap, right? At this stage, I think A-Trend is just like, okay, I know what's happening. The game is just over. There's nothing you can do. There's damage coming from every which way. Got a triple panic point advantage. This is well played, Gamer. Really well played. I like this. I like A-Trend's opener, too. I don't know if DT's still in chat, or if DT, you catch this later. Since you're also in on the Gravedigger plan for this, GG. We'll talk a little bit about this now the review's actually over. But DT, or anybody else, let me know down in the comments how you feel about Gravedigger versus Crushmore, as we saw A-Trend try and do in that game. Like, which do you feel is better? Now, one thing I will point out also is Gamer does have a level advantage here. It isn't huge. We've seen much larger ones, and even this game next to it, like against Dios here, Gamer has a larger deficit. But there were points in that game where, like, the jar was able to be in a forward position because it had a level advantage on everything that was there. It's the way it works sometimes. Electric Cat carry the whole game, no sweat. It's true. Puts the team on his back. Electric Cat is the Greg Jennings of Phobies. Let me know if you remember that clip. Let me know if you remember that clip. That was pretty cool. From both players, it was a pretty unique opener by A-Trend, and I'm going to have to keep that in mind. I don't know that I like that. It just feels very bold to bank in that fashion on that early, but, I mean, it might have worked, and maybe I got to go through A-Trend's games and see if that's a common opener for A-Trend on that map. Maybe they were just trying it out. Alright, now we got a YuKay one. Here it is. Alright, so our hero YuKay zoning in on Ergo in the orange trunks. The notes here are Heart Rush. We're channeling Luffy. We're channeling Luffy as Luffy's taking a little break from Phobies, living that League of Legends life. Everybody pour one out for Luffy. Pour one out for Luffy because, yeah, League of Legends. Sounds like a mistake to me. I don't really like how YuKay positioned this. You could have had the cat here, and then the cassowary here, just so you have things farther up, but whatever. It's a snowball opener into snowball plus bank from our bad guy. That's a little weird. It's a little weird. But they clearly have something in mind. They clearly have something in mind here. The question is what? The opener from YuKay is similar to what I do. Wait, what? Oh, you can't get to this stem. Yeah, Luffy will be back, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know if Luffy... It's one of those things... So, there's a quote from the World of Warcraft team years ago. where they were doing an interview. You'll understand where I'm going with it in a second. They were doing an interview that basically amounted to, well, what happens when players say they don't like the game and they're going to leave? And their answer is, well, we're going to design our game, and if the game isn't clicking with you right now, that's okay. You can the game will be here when you're ready to come back to it. Now, that's we'll call it a privileged attitude. The reason I say that is, yeah, at the time when they said that, that was like the peak of WoW, when they had like, I think it was 8 million players or something. So it's like, well, if a bunch of people rage quit, there's plenty more, and more people were coming in at the time, the backfill. But it is the appropriate way to handle it, where if you're presenting a game in a certain way and people don't like it, that's okay. Not everybody's going to like everything at all times. You can't please everybody. And if you try to, you're generally going to fail and make it worse, because then you're not pleasing anyone, sort of thing. There's a lot of famous quotes about that. But similar to the stream, I'm going to keep streaming anyway. And I'm not saying Luffy's doing league stuff, but if somebody said that they don't like my stream, that is okay. There are other Phobies content creators, and more power to you. If you don't like my stuff, go check out one of them. Or if you like my stuff, go check out one of them. Or if you like their stuff, check out mine. Like, it's fine. And I plan on streaming anyway, barring, knock on wood, some sort of catastrophe, I'm going to keep streaming. And if, I'll be around when people are ready to watch. Kind of what it comes down to. Like, I'll be here. People shouldn't feel bad if they miss a stream or a video or whatever, or like their life, like they've drifted away from Phobies, so they don't want to watch Phobies, or they can't play Phobies, or they don't have time, whatever. There's tons of reasons, and it's all fine. We'll be here when you come back. That's the way it goes. But anyway, I used to play League. I was Plat League. It takes a lot of time and grind. You're like, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of League. I don't really like MOBAs at all. We've talked about that like a lot. So this is a surprising... This is a good boy that did not have to cross the Rainbow Bridge. This good boy did not have to cross the Rainbow Bridge. That might be the quote for this video. I don't know if we had anything funnier tonight, but we might have. I mean, yes, the cat dies, but that good boy did not have to cross the Rainbow Bridge. That was not necessary. Gesundheit is filling out bad guy's team, but right now it's Cowbell, Cassowary, Murderwing, and Stabby versus... Ooh, alright, clever. Versus Fire Ant and Gesundheit. I can appreciate banking for the Fire Ant, but I have to imagine you anticipated the Snowball surviving. Oh man, bad guy. Bad guy. Not like this. Like, you didn't... This is a lot of picks that absolutely did not need to happen. Poor boy, yeah. Poor good boy. I don't know if anybody... There was a short story that... I don't know if I posted to Discord, but it was a story about what happens to dogs after they die. It involved the Rainbow Bridge, but there was a follow-up to it, and I don't want to spoil it. It was actually a very sad but well-written short story. I sent it to my wife, and she got real upset because we're both dog people, and she got upset because she's like, how could you send that to me? And she was real upset after the story because it was a very heartwarming thing. So, I don't know. It's tough to describe without spoiling it. But anyway, we see another Phobie go down. We're just sniping things left and right. We're all up on the heart with a triple panic point advantage, 31-21. I mean, like, yes, things are going to die. But there's a Stabby in range on your heart already. Oh my god. Oh, there's fire. There's fire. I was about to say, is this Murderwing going to live? If this Murderwing lived, I was going to lose my mind. I don't know if this really counts as a heart rush, but, like, I guess it does. At this point, I mean, we're on turn 13 of 14. We knew this game was over. Yeah, chat, this has been an absolute night of ass whoopings. An entire night, basically, of ass whoopings. Like, these games were not close most of the time. Viewers are choosing violence. And just like that, speaking of violence, another heart attack induced. Well played, YuKay. This is another one that, again, not beating up on bad guy. Don't want to take anything away from our hero. But, can I offer you an egg in this trying time? Yep. But the fact of the matter is, there were a lot of questionable plays. Maybe not a lot, but enough by bad guy that absolutely handed the game like on a silver platter to YuKay. It's just, you can't come back from some of those. It's just backbreaking. YuKay is showing up like Bane, the man who broke the bat. I was born in the darkness. Anybody else not really like that Batman? Honestly, out of that trilogy, the Nolan trilogy, I liked the one with Joker. I didn't really care for the first one because I'm just not a fan of origin stories. They kind of bore me. You know, like, especially for big hero, like Batmans of the world, the Spider-Mans of the world, the Supermans of the world. Everybody knows at this point, even if you were, like, say you're a kid and you never saw a movie with Superman's origin, somebody will tell you. You know, like, you don't even need the origin in that case. It's like, oh, well, there's just this dude who's a superhero and is basically a walking god. Or Batman. Like, he just shows up and whoops people's ass. Like, you don't need the background. You don't need to know how. And then maybe you do it in flashbacks or something, right? Like, to me, that's okay. If it's a lesser-known superhero or something, yeah, introduce them so we know what's going on. But I'm bored by origin stories. But the third one with Bane just felt dumb. It just felt dumb. Yeah, you love to see it, Honda. You love to see it. Grimes is Bane? Is he, though? No, this is going to be Bane. When we get this Phobie, this is going to be... And I, honest to God, I hope that whatever luchador Phobie is named Bane. That would be really cool. Like, I want the wrestler Phobie to be Bane. Alright, what was I doing? Oh, yeah. I clicked on the wrong thing. Next viewer game review. That is not the name. That's a date. It's a Fratute game. I don't know if Fratute's in chat. I don't think we saw him. Where is this? I didn't know you could put slashes in your name, because I looked at the spreadsheet and opponent's name was 18/5, and I'm like, I didn't even know. Usually you can't do stuff like that in names. Like, a lot of, because it causes weird database things sometimes, or, you know, it's just, you're looking for alphanumeric characters. But anyway, zoning in here on the Biff's room with Fratute in the orange trunks as our good guy going second. Notes here, opponent thought he had it in the bag. So we might actually have a close game here, chat, because we had, oh, you are here for Fratute? Nice. It's funny that we've had so many beatdowns, and we might actually have a close game this time. So we get just a straight-up stabby opener from our hero, which I can see where this could start putting you in a hole, but it does stabilize. I don't know if Fratute has Muffin, but we're probably going to find out when this Henrietta inevitably connects. So we get the cat. Ooh, and a jar follow-up. I actually like this. I like this a lot because it does threaten a number of different things. You don't have it. Okay, so if this connects, which it looks like it's going to, yep, this is going to be permanent poison. Will this kill it? Probably not. I'm not doing the math. I don't care. We will see. So the cat does go down. This is a really aggressive invade. I could absolutely see kill the cat. Well, actually, this is fine. I actually like this now that I think about it because this protects this, hypothetically. I don't think it does. Oh, you can just kill it with the jar. Never mind. I thought it had enough health to survive the jar. Okay, never mind. Then this is... I think you just kill the cat. Like, get the cassowary out. If you want to, poison this, and then tickles kill the cat. But I think you need to get the cassowary out, or you just let the cat live and sit on your 2-to-1 panic point of it. I don't know. I don't... see. So the follow-up from our hero here is Stairmaster. Into this board, this is a little weird to a degree. But it's probably fine. It's just that these two, the Jin Sting and the Stabby, will represent an enormous amount of damage, and Stairmaster is, of course, glass cannon-y. This is a level 6 Stairmaster. And we get the challenge play action, and ooh, this is a lot of damage going down on the Stairmaster, actually. It will survive, but you do get a bunch of free shots on the Stairmaster, which is kind of scary, because it can't connect with anything relevant. Basically, the Stabby and Jin Sting. A little murder wing action. That hurts, but I guess you have to. Ooh, alright. So... This Stabby should live... Could die to this, or whatever follow-up. Because the Stabby's going to end up here. This will die to the Jin Sting. And you don't have Meatball. This feels like a potentially very dicey trade. Because you could lose a lot here. And it's not a panic point advantage hero. Yeah, so they elect to stay. Jar, and this allows the Murder Wing to live. Because otherwise you'd have to sink probably 2 attacks in order to get it, but this means you can pull back. I would not have put it there, though. This can die. Yeah. Now, is Bees up? Bees is down. So you're not going to get both the Jar and the Murder Wing. You're only going to get to choose one of them. At this point, I think I was starting to throw on purpose, or maybe next turn. Oh, the Jar was down. Yeah, because the Jar hit the Stabby, so it... I mean, you still don't get both, but it is a threat here. Now is Meatball back up? Meatball's back up. So this is a dead Jar. Now, granted... Bad guy is at a pretty significant advantage. 3 keys remaining, Primate and Jin Sting on the board. By taking the Jar, that ensures the death of the Murder Wing. Positioning here is good in order to avoid the Primate. 10 turns left. We're on turn 14 of 24. But a bad Sushi. So this is where I think the notes come in. Bad guy thinks they just have the game in the bag. There's only 4 keys left. Wait, what? Oh my god, is this going to go down how I think it is? We'll see how this plays out. So they elect to kill the Gravedigger, which I guess is to prevent, like, a body block or a terraform here. But this Primate is just dead, isn't it? The Primate just dies. It was in range of this leap. I think you just kill the Murder Wing. I mean, obviously you shouldn't have Bad Sushi either, but Bad Sushi actually does get a kill here. But now it's Bad Sushi and Jin Sting versus Cassowary and Jin Sting. Panic point advantage does, in fact, go to our hero at this stage. That Sushi is level 1. Oh, bad guy 100% thought they had this game in the bag then. There's no reason to do that otherwise. Get a little hydrate action. A little hydrate action. Yeah, bad guy absolutely thought they had this game in the bag. Even if you just went random 2-drop and a 1-drop, that would be better than this. Down goes Jin Sting. The Bad Sushi can get a connection, but it's not getting the job done. GG. I don't know that it was a huge throw at all, Fratute. It felt like you were doing okay. There were definitely some positioning or positional, I don't want to say necessarily errors, but there were parts that I didn't necessarily agree with. But I think for the most part, you weren't really in terrible shape overall. As soon as bad guy plopped down that bad sushi, yeah. I don't know about that one, bad guy. I don't know about that one, bad guy. Why not immediately put the Jin Sting near the enemy Jin Sting so your Jin Sting can hit the enemy Jin Sting next turn? Well, they were in range unless you were saying if they move away. But I think if Fratute did that, then they can get connected on by the bad sushi. If I'm thinking of the same turn, Onda, like... So I'm assuming it was this turn that you were talking about. So if you move the Jin Sting here, you get hit with the bad sushi. No, you don't, because this is on cooldown. For some reason, I thought bad sushi was like Finnegan or Slammerhead, where you can do it every turn. But yeah, in this case, since bad sushi literally can't do anything, it would have made more sense to put it right up next to this. Because like we can say, bad sushi, nope, not doing anything. Well played. Yeah, you gotta be careful, because if you are ahead... Phobies can be very much, and it often is, a game of single mistakes. You can absolutely hand a game back to somebody, or hand a game away that they gave you, or that you were winning, or losing, or whatever. Things can change on a dime. So you have to be very careful that you don't over or even underassess yours or your opponent's position. Like, you really do have to be cognizant of everything going on. It's difficult to autopilot in Phobies. It's very difficult to autopilot in Phobies. Alright, chat. We're going to be closing up shop soon. There's only one game left in the queue, so yes, Kratosss, we will break the general rule for now of doing only one game per person per week, because it is unlikely but not impossible that the patch tomorrow screws with replays, like the application of the patch as opposed to the push live for next week. That we're assuming that the 8 or the 10-4 date, I don't know where I got 8 from, the 10-4 date is the go live for the 1.5 patch. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But speaking of Fratute games, Kratosss, you didn't favorite it. 921. Hopefully it's still on your profile. There it is. I'm assuming it's this. Alright, so our hero this time, instead of Fratute, is Kratosss against Fratute. Zoning in the orange trunks on like and subscribe. Like I mentioned, typically I only do one game per person per week, but because we're getting the patch incoming, and this is actually the last review currently in the queue, every time I say that, then there's going to be 1,000 games, but if you want to submit your game, this is probably a good chance, assuming it comes after the patch and doesn't break replays. Does that happen sometimes? Pretty much every time. Hit up the Random Thoughts Discord, or come by the live stream RTChompGG over on Twitch. Likes and subscribes, just like the map, do of course help. Am I just finding this out? Which thing, Bozo? Am I the only one who thinks bad sushi is a piece of crap garbage? What's funny is it used to be worse, Moru. They actually buffed it. They actually buffed it in a recent patch. It's not good. It's not good. It is something I want to try. I do want to try it out to see if you can... I think it will only work on small maps. I don't think it'll really work on big maps for painfully obvious reasons. But it's like a it's a weird sheep. And I don't know if it holds a weird position, because if you make it better than sheep, it invalidates sheep, right? Because they're basically the same phobie. Yes, they're not literally the same phobie, because sheep could do its ability and then still attack, whereas you can't do that with bad sushi, as we saw. It has a cooldown. I don't know. I don't know what purpose it serves. So I don't actually like the retreat here from Kratosss, because you want to threaten the break here so that you can blow up this Jin Sting, but ultimately Fratute ends up retreating here anyway. This map right now feels very stalematey. Well, this is your game, Kratosss, or this is the one that is on here, because it doesn't match your stuff. Like, if this is not the one you're talking about, then your game is not on your profile. Was this not the game you were talking about? Oh, it is this one. Because you said your game is not being reviewed, but it is. That's why I was confused. Sushi is bad in this game, and I personally, I don't know, chat. What do you, or YouTube? What do you think about sushi? I like California rolls, and that's about it. I don't mind. Well, there's not much happening in this one, Kratosss. Like, this is just jockeying for position. That's why I was gonna say this map feels like it devolves into key trading wars, especially if you have things like Innocuous. There isn't anything necessarily happening here. The big thing with this is, exclamation point game review, or exclamation point game reviews, or the Discord link, that'll work too. The big thing with this map is trying to set up a play that your opponent forgets about, or whatever, with a break, or one of these, and just snipe their jar. Jar is a valuable asset because of the range, just being able to get stuff up. Get stuff set up. Like, a lot of this right now is what I tend to encounter myself on this map. Rotations to try and take panic points. We have a 3-to-1 for our hero here. 11 and 10 keys banked, which is kind of cool. Tons of space for our hero to try and drop something big and nasty. But the Murder Wing will pay for its sins. Ooh, we do get the boom, which was part of the notes, if you recall. Did I say the notes? See what you can do with boom versus the homie. Good game. All right. I don't remember if I said that. So those were the notes for this game. So the boom has now shown up. This boom is not in range, so it doesn't look like this turn is where we're going to see some shenanigans go down. Murder Wing coming out. I don't know about leaving the Hevo here. Like, I get it. The jar is not doing a ton of damage, but letting the jar soften this Hevo up kind of eliminates the advantage of Hevo to begin with. Because the whole idea is that it has an enormous pool of hit points, so you don't want to just, like, give that away. I didn't say that? Okay, good. I'm glad I said it then. You were baiting? I mean, that makes sense here, but I don't know that... Like, if they can't kill it, they're not going to go in. If they can't kill it, they're not going to go in. So now you've taken either 5 or 6 attacks from this jar. Okay, maybe only 4. Because that... Oh, because the Murder Wing repositioned. So Boom comes in, takes down... I don't really like the Resurrect phobie here. I get trying to bait it, but there's still tons of keys left for Fratute here. Okay, here we go, chat. This is what I was expecting when we saw the notes. You get the Gravedigger moving up, get a little breakage here, and we get Boom plays. Does Onda proud. Boom, baby. Not only pops the opposing Boom, but softens up this Hevo. Get a little laser beam action coming down. And then, of course, the big finish with Cassowary. Chomp, chomp, baby. Ooh, chat, it's Russell. Chat, it is Russell. We have another Russell enjoyer showing up. 4-to-1 panic point advantage for the blue team, though. And we're obviously going to get a fairly nasty, or we could get a fairly nasty bees on the return here from Hematogen Sting off the stem. Oh, you don't even need the more bees. You kind of did. Alright, so bad guy invests all but one key in a mother load. This is interesting because without a muffin, that means that there's no other poison. Wow! We don't see the poison, we just see the invade from the Russell. That's pretty cool. The Russell invade is pretty cool, where it just straight up goes in. That's actually pretty awesome. The pterodactyl that came out, continuing to beat up this Jin Sting. Obviously, that thing is not long for the world. But now it clears the space. Oh, baby. Like lambs to the slaughter here. I did see the play coming and didn't care that much about it, but I got aggressive when Russell came out because it was my first time against it and got scared. I was going to say, like, the boom play was cool, but it didn't generate a ton of value beyond what you would have gotten. I mean, you probably couldn't have done that without it, but I could see accepting the results of it. But this turn was way more crippling. This turn was way more crippling. So I can absolutely see that. I mean, at this point, you know, we know what's going to happen. Motherload is not going to be able to do this on their own. It's just a little too much stuff. That's one brave crow there. Honestly, Russell, it's not 8 keys worth of damage. You know, like, almost 550. That's a good amount of damage, but not... I'm not spending 8 keys for 550 damage. Like, I could spend 5 and get more than that with Stairmaster, and it's ranged. But it's still... It's not damage that you can just ignore, right? So Russell does go down, but it's a very beat-up Motherload. Very beat-up Motherload and some 1-drops against this. I think we know where this is going. Well played. Well played. Electric Cat doing its thing. Dying. GG. GG. Yeah, that other turn after the boom play, I think was the bigger one. That one just annihilated. There's a lot going on that turn. 550 on 3 targets. I mean, yes. If you can get a multi-hit, it's obviously better. I mean, that's the whole point. But it's melee. I feel as though we would see more Minotaur if people were concerned with that. Like, if that was... I mean, I think we should probably be seeing more Minotaur anyway, but I need to get my Minotaur leveled up. I just don't have the levels at the moment. Where is it? It's level 2. I mean, we have some levels, but, like... It's going to take a little bit of time to get this thing up to a position where I think I can use it. And then it's also, I got to figure out what the game plan is. It's not just run Minotaur out there and pray. It's, I want to do it in a methodical fashion so that I can say, well, I'm putting Minotaur out, I expect this to happen, and if this other thing happens, then I'll pivot to this. And then I can adapt from there. You know, you need to treat it like an experiment so that way you know what your hypothesis is, what your expected results are, and what your testing process is. Otherwise, you're just throwing things into the meat grinder, and then people get surprised when they think something's good or bad after just throwing it into the meat grinder, and it's like, yes, but the circumstances were weird. Like, it was set up to fail going in, or it didn't matter if you put that out because you were already so far ahead you couldn't lose. You know, those are the things you got to consider. But, chat, we're a little bit over for tonight because this is one of my short nights. We'll be back tomorrow for Variety. I'm not sure whether it's going to be Rumbleverse or it's going to be something else. We'll see. We'll kind of play it by ear. Probably post something in Discord, which, speaking of the Discord, if you want to hit up the Random Thoughts Discord, ! Discord, here on the live stream, RTChompGG over on Twitch, or, of course, you can get both of those links down in the description of this video on YouTube. The likes and subscribes on YouTube and the follows here on Twitch always definitely help out. I have a bunch of goals that I want to try and hit, like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Hopefully we can get it before the end of the year, but We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm going to take it, call it for the night. Appreciate everybody that came out. Definitely a lot of fun. I like the idea of this review night, and now I know roughly how many games I can do in a single night. So that way I can break it up as necessary. If you want to get your own game reviewed, hit up that Discord, like I said. But for now, that's going to do it. So as always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Black Lives Matter.